Hi, Tom from bknutrition.com, and today I want to talk about the Anabolic Muffin and other anabolic food groups that you can have to maximize your workouts. Now, this is of course a joke. There are no anabolic muffins around. There are no food groups or superfoods that are going to catapult your gains into the stratosphere. However, you obviously do need to eat a lot of protein to build muscle, and eating carbohydrates helps you fuel those workouts, and eating adequate fats helps to maintain your hormones and other good things that are needed for muscle growth. But what has been around ever since I can remember in terms of my own bodybuilding career, and certainly it's not expired today, is this practice of having these sort of weird pre-workout or pre-stage pump-up foods that seem on their own to be doing some sort of magical things. And there are a couple of high-profile pro bodybuilders who use things like muffins or bagels or whatever pre-workout as their snack pre-workout to make them have a better workout, or seemingly on camera a better workout. So what I wanted to do is just discuss in this video what the actual facts behind that, the science facts are behind that process, so you understand it a bit better, but also don't go out and waste your money on things that maybe you don't need to. So let's talk about the anabolic muffin first. What this is the process, or the practice I should say, of ingesting a high glycemic, both complex and simple carb source pre-workout in order to give yourself a bit of a boost. Now, there has been research done on pre-workout carb ingestion, and the research is I would say leaning towards the fact that if you have carbohydrates around about 30 to 50 grams pre-workout and within about half an hour pre-workout, you generally tend to get a better workout response, as in terms of potentially how long you can exercise for. Also, the purpose of this is it potentially is glycogen sparing, so by having the carbohydrates as a food source that you eat before the workout, then your blood glucose will elevate, and you can then use that blood glucose to fuel your muscle contractions. So essentially you're saving your muscle glycogen for later on in the workout. So there is an advantage to doing it. Potentially you could work out longer. The reason why people tend to get, or look as though they get more pumped and more vascular from this, is normally when people are adopting this practice, they are in a competition mode, a diet mode, and so they're normally on very low carbohydrates or very restricted diet, and so having this ingestion of simple sugars and refined complex carbs, which get into your system really quickly pre-workout, what happens is the body wants to take on these sugars and these carbohydrates very quickly. So what happens is you get what's called vasodilation, where your veins expand so that they can carry all this glucose to the relevant place. And if you ingest water with that, that helps the vasodilation. So what you'll normally find is someone having a muffin or a bagel or whatever pre-workout. Some of my guys use muller rice, some of my guys use pancakes. I don't coach pre-workout, competition guys anymore, but when I was coaching people in that's what we used to do. Also, for people who are dieting and trying to lose body fat, we also do fuel pre-workout, and I've done this myself and it works very well. So if you have some sort of simple carbohydrate with a complex carbohydrate, so a muffin works well, a pancake works well, Rice Krispie treats work well, cereal works well, and you have a significant amount of water with that, you generally tend to find you get this vasodilation effect in your muscles, which then makes you look as though this food has somehow catapulted you and made you a bit more anabolic. So that's a simple explanation, not very glitzy, not very sexy, but there is the explanation for that. There is actually a use for that. But the anabolic muffin can be used as well to describe, well, I use it anyway, to describe the group of things that they're sort of seemingly weird things that people do and have this mystical effect about them, but actually some do have a real application, like in they've been researched and they do work, and some are just stuff that people do because of their habits. That's what they like to do. So for example, a lot of people, myself included, when I was training for bodybuilding competitions, I used to wear the same clothes, well, not the same clothes all the time, but the same clothes for leg training, like the same t-shirt, or I had one or two t-shirts I wore, and the same pair of baggies, because that was my routine. In order to train legs hard, I wanted to wear the same baggies and the same t-shirt so that I would be in that zone. It'd be anchoring me to a good workout. And this had absolutely no effect in terms of wearing the clothes physically made me lift more. However, it conditioned my mind to be in that zone for prepping for a really, really good workout. And so some things can have a psychological effect and some things can have a physical effect. The clothes had no effect on me physically, but psychologically they prepared me, they anchored me to what I was about to do. And there are other things as well that people use, things like waist trainers, which thankfully I think have died a death now. There was a thing about using gum shields, like bodybuilders using gum shields a little while ago. I think that's now stopped, thankfully, although I can see the reason why you would wear a gum shield if you're doing lots of heavy deadlifts and stuff. But a bodybuilder who's training for more muscular side, I don't think you need to wear a gum shield for that. And there are other things as well. You know, there was a time when everybody was using occlusion bands, so occlusion training where you tied a band around your arm or your leg or whatever, and then did a load of reps. The science behind that is actually science for people recovering from an injury. So if you occlude a leg muscle, train it with very sub-maximal weights, so you're holding the blood in there, but you're taxing the muscle, actually can help recovery faster. But what bodybuilders have taken this, and a lot of bodybuilding coaches do, where they're doing loads of occlusion training, they don't actually have to do that because there's no reason, there's no benefit to doing it. The reason they were doing it was to do something different in their workouts, and actually has, I think, no effect at all on giving that person a better workout. You're better off not doing the occlusion training and potentially just lifting a bit more weight for more reps. But that's only my view on it. I've also seen people using bands a lot. I don't see that happening a lot, not in my gym anyway, not gyms I go to, but bands used to be all the rage a couple of years ago, and bands do have their uses. They can increase tension at the top of the lift. They can obviously also take off the weight. If you look at, say, if you're doing a bench press and you tie a band to the top of the Smith & sheets or the power cage, and you tie a band towards that and dump the bar in it, what it can do is deload the weight for you at the bottom, so you can actually lift a heavy weight at the top but have a lower weight, a bit of an assist at the bottom. That's also beneficial. But the problem here is you get people then overdoing that and having bands at the top, bands at the bottom, and the idea of doing what they're trying to do has actually got lost in the fact that, oh, I'm just going to tie this thing up with bands. So the purpose of this video is, if you see someone doing something which you think, oh, that's a bit weird, I wonder why they're doing that, why don't you go and ask them why they're doing it, or research it on the internet if you don't want to talk to them. Because there will be potentially a reason why they're doing it. There is probably a benefit, because these things don't start from nothing. Normally they start from very legitimate exercises which, say, a very advanced trainer has done, or some sort of person who's very knowledgeable in the industry has done for a specific reason for a client. And what then happens is people see it and go, oh, I quite fancy doing that, and then they do it with their training with absolutely no idea about why they're doing it. So if you see something like that, don't just go and blindly do it yourself. Go and ask the person why, or research it on the internet, or if you want, drop me a message. I may or may not know the answer, but I'll certainly try and find out for you. The reason is because there's no real reason to adjust things in your training unless it's going to give you a benefit, either in psychologically, as in it's going to increase the workout interest for you, because I've talked all the time about making your workouts interesting, but also, is it going to help you grow more muscle or get stronger or whatever you're trying to do? If it's not going to do any of those things and potentially just going to make your workout a bit longer and a bit more cumbersome, then don't do it. And I see this happen an awful lot. People doing weird exercises, like sitting sideways on the leg press and kicking out to work their glute minimus or something. You don't need to do all those things, but they gimmick things that people have dreamt up on Instagram to make themselves look better. And you're just going to look like a dick doing it in the gym. So don't do it. Have a think about, is there something that's actually, this is something that's going to benefit me? If it's not, and you know the reason why it would be used normally, and it's not going to benefit you in what you're doing, then don't do it. Sticking to the basics and doing them consistently is going to get you more results than trying to do all these little gimmicks and diet hacks and all these other things that potentially might have an effect, but more often than not are not going to do anything. So, short video today. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it as ever. If you want to get some sample workouts of stuff that actually works, then when you go to my website, bkmnutrition.com/vitamin T, and you can download 5 free workouts to get you started with your bodybuilding and muscle building antics. Okay, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.